If you're a business owner who already has a YouTube channel or thinking about starting one, there's a few things that matter way more than consistency, virality, and posting more content. I've been managing YouTube channels for multiple six-figure brands and even one seven-figure brand, and after doing this for about a year, the patterns are very obvious. So in this video, I'm going to break down the 6 biggest lessons that we've learned actually running YouTube channels for businesses. And for context, I run a YouTube content agency, and we pretty much handle the strategy, ideation, scripting, editing, thumbnails, SEO, and distribution for all businesses that are using YouTube as a growth channel. And so this entire video is based off of what I've seen work, what doesn't work across real brands, and this is real data that I'm pulling info from. And just to be clear, this isn't a video about how to grow a YouTube channel just for views. This is about how businesses should use YouTube and think about YouTube if they wanted to actually move the needle and make it one of their primary client acquisition sources. Lesson number 1 is that speed beats perfection. The most successful brands on YouTube don't treat it like a Hollywood set, they treat it like a distribution channel. And so the goal is to collect as much feedback, as much data as possible, not create the perfect masterpiece. Because while small creators are debating whether the thumbnail needs like another word or maybe the editing needs a different type of style, 7-figure creators, 6-figure creators are understanding that the cost of delay is much greater than, those little imperfections. Attention and momentum are the assets, and they compound after every single upload. And they understand that the feedback loop is the real prize, because you don't get any feedback or data on a private or unlisted video. Once it's public, you can get the data from the market. You can understand, okay, this is where I went wrong. This is what should be better. This is what I'll do better next time. You actually get the data to actually leverage that and do better the next time. You start to understand, okay, what was my click-through rate? Where did the viewers drop off? What comments were left? And this feedback is all gold. So instead of seeing every single video as a monumental project in history, what you want to do is just see it as like a continuous process of learning and iterating. And that single mindset shift removes all the pressure and allows for rapid execution. Lesson number 2 is that the only metric that matters is revenue generated from a video. These business owners could really care less about the amount of views or subscribers that they get. What they care about is the qualified pipeline that they're going to get and the amount of revenue that's generated from the actual channel. But you have to understand that the entire YouTube strategy must be reverse engineered from the business's desired outcome. So do you want cash? Okay, how are you going to get the cash? What type of videos do you need to create? Okay, X videos. Okay, before that though, you need to understand who you're trying to target. Okay, cool. But before you're trying to target someone, you need to understand, what are you going to target them with? You have to understand everything before you actually get to the outcome, if that makes sense. And so you have to redefine what a successful video actually is. A video with 800 views that results in like a 15K PIF, that is overwhelming success for a business. But a video with 100,000 views that's very broad and brings in 0 qualified leads, that is a business failure, literally. So you have to be willing to ignore the vanity metrics that a lot of creators chase. And you have to understand that YouTube content becomes a long-term asset, because unlike a lot of other platforms where videos, disappear after 24 hours in the algorithm, a YouTube video is a searchable asset 24/7 until you delete it from the platform. And so a video that you publish today can find a perfect client in maybe 2 weeks or maybe like a year from now. And it's building trust and authority while you sleep. And so this indicates your content choices. And so when you optimize for revenue, you stop asking, okay, what's the most popular trend right now? Instead, you start asking, okay, what is the single biggest pain point that my ideal client is searching for a solution to right now? And this leads to fundamentally more different and more profitable content. Lesson 3 is that a video without a next step leads to a dead end. Random uploading is worse than not uploading at all, because it burns out the creator and it confuses the audience. Each single video must be part of a larger conversion path that pretty much gives the viewer a clear and logical next step. And so the viewer's journey is everything. And so a random video might be entertaining and interesting once in a while, but a series of videos that logically solves the viewer's problems will build trust and make you the go-to authority. The audience and the viewers are going to feel much more understood. And so you need to have this conversion path mapped out before you even start. What is the primary goal of this video? Who is it for? Where do you want them to go next? Answering these questions can turn your content game from a random game to like a predictable outcome game. And we do this for all of our clients because we don't want them uploading something that won't convert. The goal is to get them cash. Lesson 4 is that specificity is the engine of growth. The fastest growing channels are never broad, they're painfully specific, which allows them to dominate a small pond and become the undisputed authority, which YouTube's algorithm then rewards. And so clarity is your advantage. When your channel is just about marketing, well, you're just competing with everyone. But when your channel is about cold email outreach for B2B tech agencies, you're competing with almost no one. And so YouTube understands much more who to show your videos to. A specific audience is a high quality audience. And so a niche audience has a much higher click-through rate because the title speaks directly to that person and it speaks directly to their pain. They have a higher watch time because the content is hyper relevant, and that signals YouTube that your content is much more valuable, which leads to you getting a lot more impressions. And so you essentially become a category of one, because by being the most specific, you become the obvious choice. And so as soon as a client searches for a solution, they're going to see you, they're going to click you, and they're going going to buy from you and you're going to get cash. Lesson 5 is that your first 20 videos are just market research. And so in the beginning, you're just training the algorithm. YouTube has no idea who your audience is. And so your first 10 to 20 videos are you just teaching YouTube who to send your videos to. And you're also testing your own assumptions because you might think your target audience wants a video about X, but they actually might want a video about Z. And the data might actually show that, which is why the collecting data in the beginning is actually so important for not the end, but later on. And this also removes all the emotion out of creating a video, because maybe if you didn't collect data at the start, then maybe like a couple months later you're still like, I wonder if this video is going to do good. But if you just collect the data in the beginning for the first 10 to 20 videos, then later on you'd be like, okay, this data supports this video is going to do well, and it'll do well because numbers don't really lie. Lesson 6, this is the last and final lesson, is that consistency is a product of systems, not discipline. No 6 or 7 business owner is going to rely on motivation or discipline to create content and maintain your YouTube channel. They build a machine or a system that makes consistency the default and removes all the creator bottleneck. And so what a lot of these bigger businesses do is hire YouTube agencies, which is something I run. And so they would hire me and I would help them create the content. All they do is record for 30 minutes per week, and we pretty much handle everything else, even the distribution and the posting. But even without like an agency, they don't rely on feeling inspired or motivated, because they understand that you have to do what you have to do in order to get the result that you want in life. That's how they got to their successful position in the first place. And the goal of having a system in place is to free the founder from everything else and have them only do what they're exceptionally good at or what's needed the most from them, which is creating the content. And they're pretty much talking to the camera. That's the only thing you need. Everything else can be outsourced or just have someone else do it. You focus on what you need to do, which is just recording the video. And then you just let the system handle the other 90% of the work. Because the moment your content depends on your mood, that's when your channel starts to die. So those are the 6 biggest lessons that we've learned managing YouTube channels for businesses. If you're a founder or operator using YouTube or thinking about using YouTube, hopefully this video gave you a clearer mental model about what actually matters. And if you want help building a YouTube channel for your business the right way, there's a link in the description where you can learn more about working with us. Otherwise, I've got other videos on my channel. For example, this one here, it's a free 40-minute crash course on YouTube. Go check that out. See you next one.